Harry and Meghan have called in the lawyers once again, but what about this time? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the heart of London. Pleasure to have your company today, and thank you as ever for all those lovely and lively comments. I do check them out, I like what you're saying, and I'm so thrilled that so many of you agree with me. We like to be fair and balanced on the show, so for those that don't agree, don't worry, I still read them. But back as ever to your royal story today. Now, if you haven't actually seen this particular story, it broke out over the last 48 hours, simply because it all boils down to a statement that was released via Her Majesty the Queen after that infamous Oprah Winfrey interview. You remember that one? Recollections may vary. A very cleverly worded statement from Her Majesty. Now, according to this new book, the problem was that Harry and Meghan, didn't feel that Her Majesty the Queen was taking this particular situation, well, seriously enough. Now, as you can imagine, you do not cross Her Majesty the Queen. You just don't, no matter who you are. And this story really escalated very quickly. It was first picked up by People magazine in the US. Now, I like People magazine. It's up there with US Weekly. You don't take the story seriously. Given the fact also I find very confusing, they've put Harry and Meghan on the front cover. It is a dead August, so you can see the point of that. Why have they got a crown on the cover? Really don't know. They're not royal anymore, but obviously they think that association will sell. But back as ever to the story. So, as this story got bigger and bigger, then the authors had to defend that particular statement. Now, what's interesting again with this is this particular author recently had to recorrect something that he stated on a TV show, which then the broadcaster decided not to include. So it doesn't bode well if you're trying to sell a book. You're kind of sensationalizing it, then pulling back. But then another twist and turn happened when Harry and Meghan decided to release another statement, this time via their lawyers shilling, basically claiming that they knew nothing about this statement, nothing to do with them, and they certainly would not offend Her Majesty the Queen. I think that's a very clever move by them, because the book itself, as I say, has come back out again. But where it gets interesting for me is the authors the first time around were virtually alluding to the fact that they'd had and received help from direct contacts. This time around they're claiming it's unauthorised, and of course they've just dealt with closed sources. Harry and Meghan in their defence have always claimed that they had no input into this particular book. But whichever way you look at it, they've managed to get PR for a soap opera book. Now, my take on these sort of books is simply this: unless you have verification from the source in hand, you really do have to take it with a pinch of salt. And at £20 plus for the book, it's an expensive read if you just like flicking through gossipy magazine style writing. But as ever, Her Majesty has the last word, and as ever, she's had to bring in line her wayward grandchild, Prince Harry. I'm sure Meghan Markle was thrilled about that. Neil Sean in the heart of London.